Sure enough, before going to the final battle with Im, it is really possible to kill all the Tianlong people. It is time for this race that is not as good as animals to withdraw from the stage of history. Then let's land on the island now. Since Goddess He Faith insisted on insisting, Yiming would not be disappointed. The boat docked quickly, and the noisy atmosphere belonging to the Chambord Islands hit the head in an instant. Unlike the islands where it stayed before, the Chambord Islands were obviously more lively. Not only were there a large number of ships parked at the dock, but even the number of merchants on the shore also very large. Let's go to the safe area on the island. After fixing the boat and paying for a guard, Li Yiming took Kuina and Goddess Faith to the central area of the island. After a while, the beautiful scenery exclusive to the Chambord Islands emerged vaguely. Wow, this place is too beautiful. Seeing such a beautiful scenery for the first time, Gina was a little dazed for a while, and the girl's sight stayed in midair, on those bubbles floating towards the sky. Under the sunlight, the colorful colors scattered out, embellishing the surrounding scenery extraordinarily beautifully. Even Goddess He Faith couldn't help showing a faint smile at this moment, and all the figures around her were deeply attracted by this glamorous smile for a while. It may be difficult for human beings to resist the charm from the gods. Sensing the abnormalities around him, Li Yiming shook his head helplessly. It feels like there will always be troubles, but as long as it can make Lord Shangshen happy, it doesn't matter if it kills the Tianlong Gren and attracts the admiral. I wanted to compete with the strong ones, so coming here is exactly what I want. Along the way, Li Yiming fought against Yu Xiao and Golden Lion successively. Although it all ended with his victory in the end, he had an inexplicable feeling in his heart that it would not take too long to achieve the great achievements he needed to accumulate. Probably after fighting with one or two strong people, it may be able to be obtained. When I think about the changes after the upgrade, I am really looking forward to it, but I have wronged Goddess Faith. He has just started the temporary god meeting, and he has completed the upgrade. I am afraid that he will have to entangle with those gods again. It's really not a good thing, but it's not as bad as imagined. Ignoring the sight of other people around them, the two of them wandered leisurely on the Chambord Islands. Although Li Yiming has his own plans, he did not choose to spoil the fun at this time, but silently accompanied his red-haired goddess and little apprentice, enjoying this rare time. After all, whoever has been entangled by a group of pirates for a long time will go crazy. Originally, he wanted to challenge Lei, the king of the underworld, but now it seems that he has to postpone this idea a little bit. Anyway, Lei will not run away, so there is no need to be too anxious. However, there are times when things don't go out of control. At the beginning, no one came to bother her. Even though many people recognized Li Yiming's identity and their eyes flashed with malicious intent, they still didn't rush forward. Master Shangshen, it seems to be very lively over there, why don't we go over and have a look? Kuina suddenly pointed to the place where the crowd gathered not far away, and said expectantly. Then go and have a look. For her own child's proposal, Goddess Hedos would naturally not refuse. After all, it was her first time to come to this island, and it was the same no matter where she went. Since there are many people there, and it is still a lively market, then go and have a stroll. The red-haired goddess really thought so. Seeing this, Li Yiming did not stop him. As a qualified tool man, the only thing he needs to do when he is shopping with women is to follow behind silently and express his own opinions from time to time. Just carrying a bag is enough. As for the others, being a man is completely incomprehensible. Due to the existence of the goddess Faith, no matter where she goes, she almost becomes the focus of the crowd. Just as the three of them were standing in front of a booth, picking out the so-called shells transported from Fishman Island, a very loud voice sounded softly not far away. In addition, seeing a large number of human beings kneeling on the ground, they didn't dare to probe at all. "Master, what's going on over there?" Kuina looked at all the people kneeling on the ground with a puzzled expression, completely unable to understand why they did this. Even if they were facing the so-called nobles, they shouldn't have to do this for the sake of it. How should I put it? Even the dignity of being a human being has been lost. But Goddess He Faith thought of something, squinted her eyes and guessed softly, this should be the situation you said. Yiming, the so-called Tianlong Gran appeared. That's right, as expected, the more you don't want to encounter any situation, anything will happen. Li Yiming scratched his hair with a slight headache, and his expression was very helpless. Master Shangshen, it seems that today's wanderings will come to an end. If you avoid these guys, you can continue to wander, but I can't stand Lord Shangshen. When you face a group of scumbags, you behave patiently. So you're going to make a move, right? Hearing this, Goddess Faith's eyes narrowed, and an indescribable expression appeared at the corner of her mouth. As Li Yiming said, as a god, even if her attitude became milder after the lower realms, it is absolutely impossible for her to actively avoid humans. And if it is humiliated by human beings, even if it destroys the world, it will not hesitate. But then again, Faith Tas has never been insulted by humans. If that kind of thing really happened, she might really do something unrecoverable in a fit of anger. But all of this has obviously been expected by Li Yiming. This kid really knows a lot about himself. I can't help it, it's such a disappointment. Actually, I don't understand why the world's navy can tolerate these pigs, but every time a finger is scratched, a navy general will attack. It's too puzzling. Li Yiming shook his head helplessly. While speaking, almost everyone at the scene had already knelt down on the ground, but Li Yiming and others who were standing still seemed very abrupt in the crowd at this time. Guests, hurry up and kneel down, don't bump into the Tianlong people, otherwise you will be in trouble. The previous store owner's expression changed suddenly, and he reminded them anxiously, as if he was afraid of attracting other people's attention, so his voice was so weak that most people couldn't hear it at all. However, Yiming didn't care about it. His eyes remained at the end of the street, and he saw a huge figure prostrate on the ground, crawling on the ground with both hands and feet. Besides wearing a prison uniform, he also had a huge collar around his neck, and was connected to a long chains. The identity of this person is obviously a slave. On his back, a celestial dragon man wearing a special costume and a hood on his head is holding a chain in one hand and a whip in the other, with a proud and disdainful expression on his face. Huh! The Tianlong man glanced around, and as expected, Li Yiming and others who had been standing stood out from the crowd and were instantly spotted by him. Feeling the gaze coming, Li Yiming also sighed suddenly. His expression at this time can be described as very strange. The appearance of the celestial dragon in front of me is exactly the same as the appearance in the previous time travel simulation. Although I don't know what this guy's name is, it is very likely that it is the same. People. Originally, I wanted to spend more time with you, Lord Shangshen, and didn't want to cause extra problems, but some people take the initiative to seek death, so there is no way. Just do whatever you want, and I am also looking forward to the upcoming battle, it will definitely be very exciting. Goddess He Faith could feel the offensive eyes of the Tianlong Gran very clearly, which made her a little annoyed. If someone dared to look at her like that before, I'm afraid the fire directly burned it to slag, but since Li Yiming is by his side, let him handle it. However, there is no need for disgusting guys like Tianlong people to continue to exist. Just as the conversation between the two fell, the eyes of the Tianlong Gran not far away suddenly lit up, and he raised a finger to point in the direction where Li Yiming and the others were, wanting to say something. However, before he could blurt out his words, Li Yiming immediately took action. Flying finger gun lightning strike. The white lightning flashed across in an instant, and Tianlong Gran's chest was pierced in an instant, and even the guards around him came over. By the time everyone came back to their senses, he was already dead. Looking at this sudden scene, everyone at the scene froze in place, their eyes widened, and disbelief was written all over their faces. Tianlong was killed, it's too bad, the admiral is coming. Hurry up and run. I don't know who yelled such a voice. The originally silent crowd suddenly stood up like frightened rabbits and rushed towards each direction desperately, fleeing, lest he be too slow and be left behind, and thus become a scapegoat for killing the Tianlong people. And the pirates who had just landed in the Chambord Islands, when they heard the news, returned to the ship with greatly changed expressions, and fled the island in horror. Almost everyone is cursing the guy who did this. But things have already happened, and there is no room for recovery. All they can do now is to protect themselves wisely. In the first half of the Great Voyage, few people can compete with the Navy. General. So if you don't want to be treated as a punching bag, you can only escape from the scene before those monsters arrive, and even stay away from the Chambord Islands. 3. As a scapegoat, arrested and sent to prison. BD, you dare to attack the Tianlong people, please give me death to apologize. The guards who came back to their senses were suddenly furious, and even their eyes became blood red at this time. As the guard of the Tianlong people, he failed to fulfill his duties, and let the Tianlong people die in front of them. No one can bear this kind of guilt. Even if the real culprit can be caught in the end, but those guys who were dereliction of duty will not end well either. Therefore, what they are thinking now is to quickly take down this guy in front of them, and then hand them over to the coming admiral. If the matter is really irreversible, they must find a way to hurry up. Fled. They are just guards, but they are not diehards. No one is willing to sacrifice their lives for others, even Tianlong people. You can't even react to my attack, but now you dare to attack me. It's really courageous, but it's a pity that your strength is too weak. As early as the day when you helped the tyrant. Since then, I have already thought that what will happen today, so I said let's all fall down. After the voice fell, Li Yiming's figure disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he had already come behind everyone, and those guards who were still rushing forward seemed to have received some kind of heavy blow, and immediately began to twitching wildly. After a while, everyone had fallen to the ground and completely lost their vitality. After doing all this, Li Yiming's expression was still calm, as if he had done a trivial thing. Master, we seem to be surrounded. Kuana's words suddenly sounded, and the girl stood in front of Goddess Faith with a vigilant face, and the words Hideo seemed to have been unsheathed. Around the three of them, a large number of naval soldiers had gathered. P.S. There are too many things in the past 2 days, so I don't have time to add more code words. I have written down all the updates, and I will make them up slowly. Thank you for your support. Chapter 140 Mind and Body Skills. The ladder to the strong. Thanks to for the monthly pass. Clang. The crisp sound echoed on the Chambord Islands. There were not many ordinary people in the densely populated area before, only Li Yiming and others, and a large number of Navy remained. But even in the Navy, few people can stay awake at this time. As early as when surrounded by these guys, Li Yiming made a bold move. Even though they are the elite Navy guarding the Chambord Islands, under the impact of the domineering look, they still can't keep awake, and most of them have already passed out. As for the rest, they were all taken care of by him. Of course, Li Yiming deliberately left behind a naval swordsman who was slightly stronger than Kuana, but did not form a crushing posture, to sharpen this little guy. After this period of study, Kuana's talent has been fully developed. Although there is no awakening of domineering or armed domineering, both physical strength and swordsmanship cultivation have increased significantly. It is not far from comprehending the breadth of all things and becoming a real swordsman. Now he only needs to go through hardships battle. Anyway, Li Yiming didn't plan to run away, so he took advantage of the time when the admiral came to train his little apprentice. After all, the current Kuina is the weakest among all his apprentices. Clang. There was another crisp crashing sound, and Kuina was directly sent flying by the navy swordsman. A slight pain appeared on her delicate face, and the difference in strength was still very uncomfortable. However, swordsmanship does not only focus on strength, this is just one part of it. But for the current Kuina, it is far from being able to understand that level. Even after Li Yiming's persuasion, she still likes to head-to-head in swordsmanship battles. This is one of the reasons why it is now at a disadvantage. Seeing his little apprentice retreating steadily, Li Yiming frowned involuntarily. Relax a bit, after all, Kuina is still young, and it is already very good to be able to achieve this level. Don't be so eager for success, be a little more patient. Noticing the change in Li Yiming, Goddess Faith said with a smile on the side. Of course I'm not in a hurry, but with Kuina's talent, she definitely shouldn't just reach this level. If she finds the right method, it's definitely not difficult to defeat an enemy of this level. Such a thing, 19 and being suppressed by the other party, it really shouldn't be. The more he looked down, the more ugly Li Yiming's face became. In fact, he also knew that he could not blame Kuina, but that his requirements were a little too high. However, since Kuina's goal is to become the world's #1 swordsman, she must have high requirements. Most of the strong can only achieve it after a lot of fighting and going through life and death, so even a woman children, absolutely cannot relax. Then let me make a point. Calculating the time, it has been so long since killing the Tianlong. The Navy must have received the news, and then sent the fastest yellow ape to the scene to catch the real culprit. Maybe it's almost here now, so it's time for this battle to come to an end. Gina, no matter whether she is a swordsman or other types of fighters, they all follow a basic principle, that is, mind, body, and technique. The sudden sound of words made Kuina lose her mind and almost lost directly. Fortunately, after training during this period, her strength has also been greatly enhanced, and she quickly stabilized the situation again, but at the same time, he also allocated part of his attention to listen to Li Yiming's description. Mind and body skills, as the name suggests, are three different things. Heart refers to having a firm will and a nature of not admitting defeat. This is the key factor that determines whether a person can become a truly strong person. The body is a body that has been tempered, together with the energy in the body, which is the cornerstone of strength. Skills, that is, fighting skills, can maximize the power you have. There is no distinction between the three, they are almost equally important, and it can be said that they are indispensable. If you want to become a strong person who suppresses one side, you must absolutely not do without the cultivation of mind and body skills. But for the current Kuina, the realm of the heart is particularly important. Her physical strength is far weaker than her opponents, but she is evenly matched in terms of skills. If she wants to win, she can only rely on epiphany to achieve it. Coincidentally, Kuina learned kendo from Koshiro Shimatsuki since she was a child. As the owner of Yuxin Dojo, although Shimatsuki Koshiro did not teach too many powerful swordsmanship, he attached great importance to the cultivation of mind and nature, which is undoubtedly Kuina's advantage. Remember what I told you. Looking at Kuina, who seemed to have a clear understanding, Li Yiming continued, there is a kind of swordsman who clearly holds a sharp blade and can cut off anything, but he can't cut anything. Pay attention to the breadth of everything. When you can understand when you say this, you can truly become stronger. Everything can be cut, but nothing can be cut. Pay attention to breathing. The girl kept chanting these few words in her heart, as if she had grasped something, but that feeling was fleeting, making people completely clueless. Hidei waved his words quickly, trying to launch a counter-attack while resisting the attack. Because of learning the breath of water, Kuina's attack is extremely sharp, but the gap is still obvious. Whether it is strength, speed, or physical strength, they are all being suppressed to varying degrees, and now they are barely undefeated, or because of this it's because of the big and small battles I have experienced for a while. But she herself knew very well that she couldn't continue to delay. The situation is not good for her. If she can't find a way to break the game, then she will definitely lose in the end. Koana didn't want to just admit defeat. After witnessing the shocking battle between Li Yiming and Yu Xiao, the traces left on the Alabasta desert were also deeply imprinted in her heart. He clearly wanted to become the world's #1 swordsman, but if he fell here, everything would be empty talk. So, she must win. A sword shook the opponent away, and Koana opened the distance, and began to pant violently. Her tumbling chest was telling of her fatigue, and at the same time, there were many scars on her body, which hurt the nerves and also affected the state of the body. It is no longer possible to continue the stalemate. Then, let's decide the winner in this move. Breathe, I must be able to sense the breath of that sword, and I must be able to cut it off. At this moment, Koana's expression became extremely resolute, and her energy and spirit were adjusted to the best state. She and Dao Yiwen slowly retracted them into the sheath, and placed them together at the waist, making a ball shape. After seeing this scene, the naval swordsman on the opposite side also responded. He knew very well that he couldn't keep Li Yiming and the others. The strength of the other party was no longer something he, a small Navy lieutenant, could handle, but with the dignity of the Navy, he was absolutely not allowed to choose to surrender. At least, he must not lose to the front this little girl. At least, until the arrival of the Admiral. Little girl, you are really powerful, but I will definitely win. After saying such a sentence, the Navy swordsman adjusted to the best state, then stepped on the ground with both feet, and the whole person jumped out to attack in the direction of Koana. The standard long knife in his hand was raised high, shining a dazzling white light under the sunlight. One shot, instant slash. Combined with the Navy's 6-style shaving technique, you can increase your speed to the fastest, thereby increasing the ferocity of your swordsmanship. This is a very common move by many swordsmen, especially in the group of swordsmen who have not yet become swordsmen. Appears to be very popular. Of course, even sword lords, there are quite a few people who use this trick. In the blink of an eye, the Navy swordsman covered more than half the distance and arrived in front of Gina, but the girl was still bending over and squatting on the spot, without any movement. Seeing this scene, Li Yiming didn't feel worried, but a faint smile appeared on his face. As expected of Koana, this kind of talent is indeed very rare. Maybe she can really become a powerful female swordsman. In his perception, his little apprentice has undergone slight changes. The originally rapid breathing has now turned into a steady breathing, and it seems that a certain balance has been reached between each exhalation, and even the surrounding water vapor has become more dense. I feel it, the breath of that knife, right now. Such a thought flashed in her heart, and Koana's eyes flickered with a gleam. Breathing of water, one shape change, water surface, draw a sword and slash. Hideyi's words came out of the sheath in an instant, and the ear-piercing sound of drawing the knife sounded instantly. There was a large amount of water wrapped around the knife, and then it moved quickly to the right. Passed by quickly. The two just kept their backs to backs and stood for a long time. Suddenly, Koana squatted down slowly, and inserted the word Hideo in her hand to the ground in time, so she stabilized her figure and did not fall to the ground in a panic. The girl was panting continuously, but still stubbornly raised her left hand. Master, I succeeded, and I did not disappoint your expectations. Ah, you are indeed outstanding. Although you have used water breathing to cheat, it is not easy to do this. Remember the feeling at that moment, and try to one day be able to formally step into that realm. At that time, you will really embark on the road of swordsmanship. Li Yiming was not stingy with his admiration, and there was a touch of satisfaction in his eyes. Click dash. While speaking, the long knife in the Navy swordsman's hand was broken, and a deep blood stain appeared on his chest, and then he fell straight to the ground and passed out. So far, no navy has been able to continue to stand still. Sit down and have a good rest first, besides, drink this thing. Straight to the front of Kuina, Li Yiming stretched out his hand to support his little apprentice, and most of the girl's weight immediately leaned on him, but this weight was still too insignificant. Immediately afterwards, Li Yiming took out 2 bottles of magic potion from his pocket and poured them into Kuina's mouth. This is a batch of potions he specially prepared before the real-life time travel simulation, and he has basically formed a habit, whether it is entering the dungeon or performing other activities. He will be fully prepared to ensure the maximum survival rate. Now it seems that the magic potion is not used by itself, but it is all used by others. Good ice. The magic potion flowed down her throat into her stomach, and the cold feeling made Gina scream, but before she could react, the potion took effect. The fatigue accumulated after a long period of fighting, as well as the large and small injuries on his body, are recovering at a very frightening speed at this time. He was obviously still limp just now, and he was very reluctant to even keep standing. In the blink of an eye, Gina was alive and well again. This is too amazing, Master. Get up quickly when you recover. Then go to Lord Shangshen. I may not have time to pay attention to you, my battle is about to begin. When saying this, Li Yiming looked in a certain direction. I saw a golden light shooting from a distance, the speed was fast, and it was getting closer and closer. In a few breaths, it had successfully arrived at the scene. The golden light condensed into a human form, standing in an open space. Wearing a yellow suit, wearing an admiral's cloak of justice, and wearing glasses on the bridge of his nose, his height of 3 meters made him look very huge, but his face made people feel very uncomfortable. Today's Huang Yuan is only in his 40s, but he has already become a fearsome admiral, and his strength should not be underestimated. Coupled with this way of appearance, it is a bit too gorgeous. Oh, I finally arrived, but it seems a little too late. Not only did the Tianlong people die, but even the navy of the Chambord Islands has been defeated. This is really true. His voice fluctuated a little, but Huang Yuan's eyes were extremely serious. If this kind of thankless job is not handled well, it will face the blame of the world government. Even for him, an admiral, it will be very troublesome. 823 things. So when he first received the news, Huang Yuan tried his best to evade it. It's a pity that after the meeting, he was the only one staying at the Navy headquarters. Akina returned to the New World to watch every move there, and Aokiji didn't know where to go. He went to ride a bicycle somewhere, but under the order of the Warring States of Buddha, he could only come in a hurry. Fortunately, after the communication with the phone bug, the green pheasant is not far from the Chambord Islands, and it is rushing here, so it only needs to be delayed. After all, what they are going to deal with next is a great swordsman who defeated the Golden Lion Chiji. Admiral. Noticing the appearance of the yellow ape, Kuina's expression suddenly became extremely nervous. Now she is no longer a village girl in Seymour's Hiji village. After following Li Yiming out to sea, she also has a general understanding of the situation in the sea, especially for the top powerhouses. I must understand. The strength of Kaiwuhe under the king is already very suffocating, so the admiral may be even more terrifying. However, she still believed that her master would not be defeated. Kuyuna, let's go to Lord Shangshen first. Li Yiming patted Kuyuna's back lightly and said softly. The girl who didn't want to be a burden also nodded obediently. I see, master, be careful. After finishing speaking, Kuina trotted all the way back to the side of Goddess Faith Hitos, looking forward to the upcoming battle solemnly. No one does not look forward to the world's top duel. Brother, you have done a lot of great things recently. Not only did you defeat Crocodile, you left that kind of sword mark in Alabasta, and then you killed the Golden Lion. As strong as a monster, to be honest, if you didn't kill the Tianlong people, I really don't want to fight with you. Huang Yuan spoke first, and Li Yiming couldn't help laughing at his lazy words. In some respects, he and the yellow ape have a good compatibility. If they can join the same camp, they may become good friends. No way, everyone has their own bottom line. Originally, I was in a happy mood and planned to take a good look around the Chambord Islands, but that garbage like Zuluo. If you want to court death, I can only reluctantly give him a ride. I'm really sorry for making you work overtime. So that's the case? Then there's no other way. Originally, the Navy wanted to invite you to replace Crocodile and become the new Shisabukai, but now it seems that there is no way to do it. Now. It's okay, anyway, I don't want to be Chihuahua, I'm not interested in being a dog for the world government, after all, I hate Tianlong people. By the way, Sengoku asked you to stop me. Do you get overtime pay? The sudden change in Li Yiming's words made Huang Yuan stunned, and then showed a surprised expression. It seems that there is no such thing. I'm exhausted every day, so I can only get some hard work. Capital, the Navy is getting worse and worse. Then you are still willing to continue working, the salary is so little. What's your life? Who said it wasn't? Chapter 141, Killing the Yellow Ape with One Sword. The Frozen Sea. Thanks to the monthly pass of Dai Chao. It was clearly a relationship that should be fought to the death, but the two chatted in such a weird way, as if they were old friends who hadn't seen each other for many years. This kind of behavior made the Navy lying on the ground feel a little redundant. If they can have other thoughts at this time. In the end, as an admiral of the Navy, is your monthly salary only so small? Not only do you have to be on call, but you also have to fight with other pirates to fight to the death. It's simply not worth it. That is to say, I always feel that I should mention the salary increase to Mr. Zhangguo. Huang Yuan also nodded in agreement, put his hands in his mouth, stroked his chin lightly and said, then Li Yiming brother, in order to give me more bargaining chips for a salary increase, can I ask you to help me a little bit? Just grab it with your hands. That can't be done. I don't want to be imprisoned in Jinjin City, or directly executed in public. It's better like this. Uncle Huang Yuan, you quit the Navy and join my camp. How much salary will the warring states give you? I'll give you 3 times, how about it? Think about it. Instead of agreeing to Huang Yuan's almost teasing words, Li Yiming responded in an anti-customer manner. At the same time, his expression was full of playfulness, and he wanted to see how the yellow ape would react after hearing these words. It really didn't disappoint, this wretched uncle's eyes really shined. 3 times the salary? It's really a very attractive condition, but you know, brother, it took me a lot of effort to become an admiral from an ordinary Navy soldier, and Mr. Sengoku also treated me very well, saying it is no exaggeration to say that he is my dearest relative and the beacon of life. It is unreasonable to say that he betrayed him like this. Oh? Then increase it to 5 times. Looking at Huang Yuan's swaying appearance, Li Yiming chose to increase his wealth. Hearing this, the corners of Huang Yuan's mouth began to twitch obviously. It was hard for him to refuse such a rich and powerful appearance, but his remaining rationality still kept him from doing ridiculous things. Although the wages of staying in the Navy are very low, you can still catch fish at ordinary times. If you really choose to quit the Navy, you may be wanted in the future, and the leisurely days will be gone forever. After weighing, Huang Yuan still chose to refuse. Thank you, little brother, for your kindness. Although your conditions make me very excited, some things cannot be bought with money. Although the Navy is exhausted, at least it is stable enough, so forget it. That's such a pity. I really appreciate you, Uncle Huang Yuan, so there's nothing I can do about it. I have really let down your good intentions, little brother. We have chatted for so long, Mr. Zhangguo is still waiting for my return, so let's stop chatting here. As soon as the words fell, Huang Yuan's hands also fell straight down, and they were put into the pockets of his trousers. Speed is power, brother Li Yiming, have you ever been kicked by the speed of light? Before the words were finished, Huang Yuan came to Li Yiming's back. The long, deadly fragrant chicken feet had been raised high, and the dazzling light formed a big cross, blooming wantonly on the calf. The next moment, he kicked directly at Li Yiming's waist. Light speed kick. The attack that was enough to tear the mountains and the ground came unreservedly. At this time, Huang Yuan didn't intend to release the water at all. This kick can be said to have used all its strength, and it was even wrapped in armed domineering. Hearing the howling wind coming from behind, Li Yiming suddenly showed a helpless expression on his face. Uncle Huang Yuan, it's a bit too shameless to suddenly launch a sneak attack while chatting. As an admiral of the navy, he treats a young man like me like this. Is this really okay? He was still teasing, but Li Yiming's movements were not slow at all. With his left foot as the axis, he turned around quickly, and his right leg greeted him unceremoniously. Lightning kick. What? The 2 feet touched together mercilessly. The power of the shining fruit and the thundering fruit was completely released this time, and the terrifying force instantly formed a majestic impact, centering on the position where the 2 touched, spread towards the surrounding. The ground began to collapse, and the naval soldiers lying on the ground were also blown out. In an instant, this area suddenly turned into a vacuum, and there were only Li Yiming and Huang Yuan, one long and the other longer, wrestling in the air, as if no one could do anything to the other. However, this stalemate did not last long. Li Yiming exerted his strength for the second time and instantly sent Huang Yuan flying out. I saw a golden light flying out backwards, smashing directly into a shop, and instantly buried the yellow ape underneath, billowing smoke and dust, making it impossible to see the specific situation inside. However, Li Yiming knew very well that the kick just now could not cause any damage to the yellow ape. Admirals are not rotten fish and shrimps. If they were defeated so easily, they would not have the strength to suppress the sea and make Jew. Most of the pirate night kids didn't dare to act rashly. Uncle Huang Yuan, don't delay the time any longer, you are not that weak. Ah, brother, you are really surprising. You still hide such a terrifying power. Is it actually the thunder fruit that has disappeared for a long time? It really works. With a flash of golden light, the figure of Huang Yuan reappeared in front of everyone. At this time, the face of this man with a very wretched appearance has become even more serious. The news other than intelligence is obviously unexpected by everyone, and now he is in trouble. Thinking this way in his heart, Huang Yuan suddenly complained in his mind. According to this posture, I am afraid that there will be a fierce battle today, and it may even be more ominous. Don't lie, I didn't see the slightest worry from your face, Uncle Huang Yuan. If that's the case, then let's continue. I also want to fight the admiral and see who is stronger. I won't hold back from now on. It's really troublesome. It seems that we can't do it today if we don't show some real skills. But brother, in order to prevent too serious damage to the Chambord Islands, why don't we fight in another place? Ah, I wish I could. Then please come with me. After the words fell, the yellow ape's body was rephotonized and flew towards the distance. Li Yiming frowned slightly, and didn't follow immediately, but turned his head to look at the goddess Hitos not far away, and said softly, Master Shangshen, we plan to continue fighting in another place, you and Kuina, do you want to come with me? Of course I do, I also want to admire Yiming's heroic fighting posture. Then let's go together. After speaking, Li Yiming turned into lightning and disappeared in the same place, and chased towards the place where the yellow ape left. Little Gina, let's follow. Under the leadership of Goddess Faith, they also followed. A few minutes later, everyone had left the Chambord Islands and came to a deserted island not far away. This island is quite large and has no aborigines. It is really suitable for fighting. Ah, little brother, your speed is really astonishing. Even I who took the sparkling fruit can hardly compare with you. The young people nowadays are so scary. Uncle Huang Yuan, you are too modest. Although the speed of the thundering fruit is fast, it can only be compared to the shining fruit in a very short distance, but if it is a long distance, then I won't be able to catch up with you. In fact, I really want to fight you again. The corners of Li Yiming's mouth were grinning, with an excited look on his face. Yao thought that when he traveled through the simulation, he was defeated by the combination of Huang Yuan and Akakan, and today he can finally be one-on-one. Then, let's go on. After saying this sentence, Li Yiming instantly opened the transparent world and stripes. In an instant, all the murderous aura and fighting aura on his body completely disappeared. Except for the eyes, the domineering and knowledgeable aura can hardly catch the opponent's movements. Except for the life posture, all the voices from other parts of the body have disappeared, which is really weird up. Sensing this phenomenon, Huang Yuan cursed secretly, and his face became even uglier. Don't be distracted, Uncle Huang Yuan, or you will die. The sound of words that were close at hand suddenly entered Huang Yuan's ears, and a sense of crisis came from the depths of his mind, which made his hair stand on end, and he directly chose elementalization. An incomparably black long knife pierced Huang Yuan's waist, but cut nothing. And taking advantage of this gap, Huang Yuan also took the initiative to choose to distance himself, with tiny beads of sweat flowing on his forehead, and even a lot of sweat appeared on his back at this time. Ah, little brother, you are really cunning. It's too foul to choose to attack suddenly. It's a pity that it didn't work for each other, we're talking about it. Li Yiming slowly drew his knife and stood up, with an expression of surprise in his eyes. He knew that it would be difficult to deal with a natural devil fruit ability user, but he never thought that it would be so difficult to deal with. He could be passively elementalized in the first place, but will be captured by the armed domineering. But if it is active elementalization, then there is no such concern. To some extent, the active elementalization of natural devil fruit ability users is more difficult to deal with than the armed domineering color. That's the feeling, though, and if it's too easy to deal with, it's a disappointment. Cut. Not wanting to continue chatting, Li Yiming rallied and came to the yellow ape again, the blade in his hand dropped instantly, and mercilessly chopped towards the latter's head. Really, don't underestimate the admiral. Huang Yuan's expression froze, he clasped his palms together and quickly formed the Tian Kanjiun sword, which immediately collided with the black knife. A terrifying sonic boom sounded, and neither of them trembled in the slightest. Then they lifted up the swords that collided together again, and slashed down with all their might. Clang! 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 The crisp and piercing metal impacts sounded continuously. Under Li Yiming's pressure, Huang Yuan began to move backwards, but he still managed to catch every knife, but feeling the strength from Tian Kanjiun's sword, his expression was not particularly good-looking. At least in terms of swordsmanship, he has already fallen into a disadvantage. Then let me see how long you can last. Armed lightning sword. The black blade is like the scepter of the gods, wantonly rolling the wind and clouds, splitting the space, bursts of rolling thunder engulfed, turned into a bright light, followed in the blink of an eye. Not good. The menacing thunder slash made Huang Yuan dare not be careless at all, and hurriedly slashed out with the same sword, and the golden slash collided with the white slash instantly. However, Huang Yuan's swordsmanship could not compete with almost all-out swordsmanship. In the final analysis, all his strength lies in devil fruits. Although swordsmanship and physical skills are involved, compared with those who specialize, he still has a lot of shortcomings. No, within a few breaths, Huang Yuan's slash has been completely crushed. Broken. Li Yiming's swordsmanship is not only domineering, but also full of destructive power. He has completely set foot on the level of a great swordsman. Coupled with the powerful armed domineering, This makes Huang Yuan feel a faint sense of crisis. A little carelessness. I'm afraid there will be one less admiral in the future. I have to admit that I am indeed no match for you, little brother, in terms of swordsmanship, so next, I have to get serious. Saying that, Huang Yuan dissipated the Tiankanjiun sword in his hand, and the aura all over his body became more majestic. Laser. A ray of golden light shot out at a much faster speed than before. However, the domineering and knowledgeable man who has long been able to foresee the future can easily capture the every move of the yellow ape, so this kind of pediatric attack can't hurt him at all. Into the slightest trouble. Uncle Huang Yuan, if you only have this strength, then I'm sorry, you are probably going to die here today, so in order to leave alive, I have to develop a little. Show some real strength. 8-foot Qian Guyu. Before Li Yiming could finish speaking, Huang Yuan directly chose to strike first. The latter instantly flew into the air, with his hands crossed in front of his chest. The dazzling light was like a sun, dazzlingly covering his entire body. The condensed energy was shot out in an instant, turning into light bullets all over the sky and falling towards Li Yiming. Overlord Color Coil Overlord Sword. No longer wanting to continue playing around, the blade in Li Yiming's hand was instantly drawn out, and the huge pitch-black slash directly covered all the light bullets, and the terrifying force directly covered all the light bullets. The light bullets were completely annihilated, and continued to fly towards the direction of the yellow ape without diminishing its power. What? This almost one-sided crushing made Huang Yuan extremely shocked. It was too late to dodge, so he could only use the armed domineering to resist. Boom boom boom. With the sound of a terrifying explosion, a beam of light suddenly flew backwards, uncontrollably hitting the sea beyond the deserted island, and it was about to fall into the sea. If he really fell into it, then the yellow ape, who is a devil fruit capable user, would really have no chance of surviving. At this time, Ice Cube Storm Pheasant's Mouth. A big bird transformed from ice crystals flew out suddenly and hit the black slash fiercely. Although the huge force, good Li Zhao, was not enough to offset it, the force from the side. Dao still deflected the slash from the original track, and flew out directly after rubbing the black ape's arm, and scattered a lot of sparks during the process. Boom! The black slash fell into the sea in an instant, and the calm sea surface was instantly cut apart at this moment, as if it was cut off from the middle. The sea is cut open. Ice Age. Terrifying cold air broke out, and the sea surface around the isolated island instantly solidified, and a large number of ice crystals appeared out of thin air, covering the entire isolated island. Even if you are on an island, the weather that was originally hot before suddenly became bitingly cold at this moment. Oh! So there was more than one person sent by the warring states? It turns out that even Aokiji came and sent 2 Navy generals to arrest me. The warring states really think highly of me. The good situation was suddenly restored, and there was no trace of frustration on Li Yiming's face. On the contrary, his face has become more excited. If an admiral can't bring him too much pressure, then if the two join forces, it won't be 1 + 1 = 2, it's that simple. Maybe after today the great achievements he needs to upgrade will be available. Since you're here, show yourself. If you can't catch me, it won't be easy for you to go back and do business. The deafening sound echoed throughout the island, and 2 figures appeared in Li Yiming's line of sight one after another. It was the yellow ape that flew out earlier, and the green pheasant who came behind. The expressions of the 2 admirals were extremely solemn at this time, and their eyes were full of attention when they looked at Li Yiming. The 2 generals shot at the same time, which really flattered me, but Uncle Huang Yuan, I really didn't expect you to be able to survive my attack. I'm so surprised. Up. Ah, thanks to you, little brother, I did get my life back. Huang Yuan's words at this time are no longer glib, and his whole body is full of embarrassment. Not only that, there are also dense sword marks on his arms and chest, and the blood is soaking. He went out and dyed the yellow suit and white cloak red. Chapter 142 Precise and elegant. A real fighting stance. Monthly ticket plus subscription required. As wretched as Huang Yuan was before, he is now in a state of embarrassment. He wasn't careless. The fact is that Li Yiming's combat power is really too strong, entwined with overlord-like domineering, and even accompanied by thunder and lightning slashing strikes. Even with the protection of armed domineering, it still caused a lot of damage to his arms and body, less damage. If it weren't for King Zi's timely support, I'm afraid he would have fallen into the sea now. As a devil fruit user, if they fall into the sea, they will become paralyzed and lose all their strength. At that time, the only way they will face is drowning. Nowadays, Huang Yuan looks at Li Yiming full of fear. He has completely regarded the latter as a powerhouse at the level of the four emperors, and it is not an exaggeration to regard him as a powerhouse beyond the four emperors. Since there are helpers here, why don't you all go up together? I hope you can bring me some pressure. Really, this job is really too troublesome. Cousin, shall we continue to fight? When he said this, Huang Yuan's heart had already started to retreat. Originally, he went to the Chambord Islands with a relaxed attitude, but now he discovered that the murderer who killed the Tianlong people was infinitely stronger than expected. It's too scary to even be able to master high-level skills like overlord color and domineering qi. Coupled with the opponent's swordsmanship, Huang Yuan didn't think he and Aokiji could defeat each other. Therefore, it would be better to retreat in time before any damage occurs. After all, the admiral is an indispensable force of the navy. If there are some accidents in other places, it will not be a good thing for the navy and the sea. You can't say that Huang Yuan has given up, he is just more rational. Unless it is a last resort, he will never fight for his life. Even if he is injured now, it is not time to fight for his life at all. However, after hearing his words, Aokiji frowned subconsciously. After a moment of silence, he finally said, "Since we are all here, of course we have to give it a try. If the two of us choose to leave without even moving our hands, if the Marshal of the Warring States knows about this, we will definitely suffer." To scold. Really, if I knew it earlier, I would have let you come with Sakazuki. He kept complaining, but Huang Yuan didn't have the idea of leaving his comrades and running away alone. Although the three admirals of the navy have their own ideas, and they are more or less displeased with each other's behavior styles on weekdays, they are still very reliable at critical times. After all, the relationship between them is quite harmonious. Since cousin, you want to try, then I will give up my life 993 to accompany the gentleman, but be careful, brother Li Yiming's strength is much stronger than the ones collected. Even when facing the four emperors, I have never felt so powerless, you should know what I mean. Ah, just from that knife, it can be seen that the terrifying swordsmanship, the terrifying domineering arrogance, the pattern of the sea is about to change again. The two were talking softly, and they both saw the solemnity in each other's eyes. Suddenly this powerful guy appeared again, and he also shot and killed the Tianlong Gren. I really don't know if it is good or bad. If the other party really leans towards the pirate side, then their navy will really be busy. The four sea emperors are already difficult to deal with, and now there is one more. Why do these guys all like to be pirates? Hey, Uncle Huang Yuan, have you two finished discussing? I'm going to make a move. Since Li Yiming, you kindly invite us, we will naturally not spoil the fun. Although you are very powerful, you must not underestimate us, otherwise, we will die. Huang Yuan pretended to be a kind reminder, but Li Yiming smiled slightly. If you were so tough just now, then I would probably admire the navy, but for now, let's forget it. When you can really bring me a huge obstacle, or even a life and death crisis, come to me again. Say something like that. Really, little brother, your words really hurt people enough. Being said such words in front of King Zi, even the lazy yellow ape couldn't help being a little annoyed at this time. Then go on. While talking, the yellow ape rose into the sky again, and the dazzling light struck again. This time it was more dazzling than before. Obviously the sky no longer intends to keep it. However, Li Yiming really couldn't understand using a range-type big move against one person. I really don't have a long memory, so let me wake you up again. As he said that, Li Yiming raised the long knife in his hand again, and was about to condense the domineering aura and release the slash, but the green pheasant beside him didn't give him this chance. Frozen time capsule. The terrifying shockwave of cold air sprayed out in an instant, and everything it passed was frozen, and the speed was very fast. Li Yiming, who noticed the abnormality, slashed with the knife in his hand, and the slash immediately collided with the cold air. But to this extent, it can only resist one person's offensive. I caught your flaw, Bakakayan Guyu. The overwhelming golden light bullets rained down, enveloping Li Yiming and even Goddess Faith and Kuina. The speed was so fast that there was almost no chance for anyone to react. BJ, think two people can take me down? How naive. Static barrier. Li Yiming stomped his right foot, and a terrifying lightning shot out from his body in an instant. A huge wall of lightning stood in front of him, intercepting all the light bullets. Even in terms of the degree of development of Devil Fruit, he is definitely not weaker than these two guys in front of him. Is it the Thunder Fruit? It's really troublesome. At this moment, even King Z showed a surprised expression. He finally understood why the yellow ape was unwilling to continue fighting. The swordsmanship of the great swordsman, coupled with the powerful three-color arrogance, is enough for Li Yiming to have a fighting power comparable to that of the four emperors, but now with the addition of the natural system, known as the most powerful Thunder Fruit, no one knows where the limit of combat power is. The most important point is that the other party is so young, which is simply unbelievable. Could it be that the second Luoji is about to appear? You guys have been fighting for so long, it should be my turn. It is not Li Yiming's style to be beaten passively. He grinned at the corner of his mouth, and raised the black knife to his shoulders with both hands, Overlord's colored twine Bajian. It was still the same knife, but its power surpassed that of before again. Ice Cube Storm Pheasant's mouth. The huge ice bird flew out again, and collided with the terrifying black slash, and it was not long before the hard ice bird was cut open from the head. It turned into pieces and dissipated in half. Yellow ape. Seeing this scene, Aokiji didn't dare to take it seriously, and hurriedly called for help. Understood, it is true, I said long ago that I would not fight. Kyuzan, you insist on fighting, and now the two of you are being suppressed and beaten. It is really ugly. Although he complained, the yellow ape appeared beside King Z in time. The two raised their hands at the same time, and the armed domineering spewed out. An invisible wall was formed immediately, blocking Li Yiming's slash outside. It was very difficult for one person to block it, but it was still possible for two people to work together. Aha! With a roar, more armed domineering jets sprayed out the slashing blows in an instant. There are really two brushes. I have indeed felt your strength. Then, next, I will use the power of my heyday to fight with you. Keep your mind tight, but don't die. Li Yiming's expression became extremely solemn, and the black knife had also changed to development. He suddenly stretched out his right hand and shook it toward the void. The next moment, the Her Faith spear that had been stuck beside the Goddess of Faith was suddenly pulled out, spinning at high speed and flying towards his direction. Grasping the flying spear, Li Yiming changed into a state of holding a knife in his left hand and a gun in his right hand. At first glance, this posture is a little nondescript, but at this moment, neither the yellow monkey nor the green pheasant dare to underestimate the young man in front of them. The opponent really has the power comparable to the former One Piece Luoji. I am coming. After the words fell, Li Yiming moved instantly. Seeing that he disappeared out of thin air without any trace of movement at all, the yellow monkey and the green pheasant were immediately extremely alert, and their domineering aura was at its maximum. It is impossible to predict the future, and even predicting the opponent's actions is very reluctant. Breath of the sun, one shape round dance. Suddenly, scorching flames gushed out instantly, mixed with terrifying slashes, which made Aokiji, who had managed to capture his exact position, react to the limit, and the cold air rushed towards his face again. However, what is surprising is that at the moment of contact with the flame released by Li Yiming, the cold air released by King Z was instantly destroyed, and even the ice crystals on the ground melted in a short time, and the melted water flow is also completely evaporated into gas. It's like meeting a natural nemesis. How is this possible? Aokiji, who witnessed this scene with his own eyes, suddenly showed a horrified expression. How can one person possess two kinds of devil fruit abilities is simply unimaginable. And from the looks of it, both are very powerful devil fruits. Even Sokolsky couldn't melt his air conditioning so quickly, but the man in front of him could easily do it. It's really terrifying. Doesn't the opponent's strength have no upper limit? Thundergun. Taking advantage of the moment when King Z was in a daze, Li Yiming stabbed out the long spear in his right hand, and the spear blade mixed with thunder showed a rolling momentum, which was no worse than the previous slash. Clang. Huang Yuan, who condensed the Tiankanjian sword in time, made a move to help and block the blow, but it can be seen from his expression that it is not easy at this time, but quite difficult. To be able to use two different weapons at the same time, and also so powerful, is really a monster. Kyuzan, now is not the time to be in a daze, you don't want us to die here either. The loud shout had an effect, and King Z came back to his senses in the first moment. His eyes became more fierce, as if he wanted to eat Li Yiming alive. Ice Cube 2 Thorny Spear. The ice spear flew across the sky, its speed increased several times, and it stabbed towards Li Yiming's head and heart. Overlord Color Coil Overlord Sword. The free left hand slashed down with the sword, piercing through all the ice spears, and at the same time continued to attack the two of them. The two completely different attack methods instantly caused a lot of trouble for Huang Yuan and King Z. Not only must beware of the spear piercing of the right hand, but also the slashing of the left hand. Just now they had the advantage in numbers, but after Li Yiming made this move, their advantage seemed to have disappeared, and the cooperation between the two hands was obviously more tacit than the cooperation between them. The terrifying slash overwhelmed the two of them again. The island began to tremble, and after the smoke cleared, a huge gully appeared on the ground, fanning out towards the distance. In the middle of the ravine. In the center, only Aokiji was left alone, turned into an ice sculpture, standing piecemeal on the ground. The timely elementalization allowed King Z to avoid most of the power of the slash, but a small part still had an effect, which had a considerable impact on him. Naturally, Li Yiming would not let go of this good opportunity, and rushed towards King Z with a gun. I can't let you hurt Kyuzan, brother Li Yiming. Huang Yuan, who had dodged in advance, suddenly appeared again, and the Tiankanjian sword in his hand fell again, as if he wanted to use this to suppress Li Yiming. However, the latter turned the black knife in his hand sideways, turned his body slightly, and used the arc of the blade to cut a certain position, which also cut off the attack of the yellow ape at the first time. Holding a knife in one hand and a gun in the other, this is the fighting style created by Li Yiming. In fact, he also borrowed from a certain BBA's fighting style, which is completely different from the common double guns, but basically leads to the same goal. Whether it is a knife or a gun, both can create opportunities for each other. After blocking the blade of the yellow ape, the next thing to do is to shoot. The advantages of the two weapons fully reflect their value at this time. The long spear in his hand is very simple to poke out, but this simple move gives people an irresistible force. At this moment, another uninvited guest suddenly appeared. King Z came back to his senses, holding two skates, crossed to parry Li Yiming's spear. Oh! Don't plan to use long-range attacks, but plan to fight me close. Li Yiming's eyes lit up instantly when he saw this scene. He likes this fist-to-flesh fighting style the most. We don't have the confidence to take over your slashing blows, brother, so we might as well change to another combat method. Even if we are devil fruit capable users, our physical skills are still very good. The next day, Huang Yuan laughed lightly, and angrily exerted force on the Tiankanjian sword in his hand. The conversation did not affect the battle between the three of them. The intensive attacks of the yellow monkey and the green pheasant were like a big net, trying to completely envelop them. However, the martial arts with a knife in one hand and a gun in the other completely defuse everyone's offensive. The two weapons attack and defend alternately, without any intention of relying on skills to gain an advantage, but using the attack that is enough to drag both oneself and the other party into danger to fight against the two of them. Line battle. The movement is like dancing with the tip of a knife, as if exchanging the injury for the death of the other party. This frightened the yellow ape and the green pheasant, who had adapted to other fighting methods. The kind of moves that completely ignored their own safety and only knew how to attack could not be effectively adapted. For a moment, Li Yiming, who is not afraid of death, instantly gained the upper hand. It's a dangerous move, but it's beautiful. There is no more gorgeous battle than this. Kuina, who was watching the battle from the sidelines, had bright eyes shining brightly, watching Li Yiming's every move. There was nothing funny about the alternation between attack and defense with a knife and a gun. Beauty of. He obviously didn't pay attention to any manners, but in the eyes of others, it was extremely crazy and wonderful. Even the goddess Faith, who was on the side, showed admiration. This also made the red-haired goddess shake her head and sigh, but in terms of skills, Yiming is already countless times stronger than those martial gods. If you give him a set that has the effect of killing gods, there is no doubt about it, I even doubt that he can accomplish the feat of killing gods. To hear such words from a god is enough to appreciate how powerful he is. My own child can no longer be called an adventurer. He is a real hero, surpassing the existence of all previous heroes. If anyone can break through the adventurer, if he is the limit of a human being, comparable to the level of a god, then there is no doubt that he is the only one. What an amazing child! I am really looking forward to your future more and more. Perhaps, you can really surpass me, maybe even surpass the gods. At that time, the soft murmur stopped abruptly. Goddess Faith Hetos didn't know what to think of, her cheeks suddenly became extremely rosy, as if a layer of tulle was thrown on it by the sunset. Is the battle over? I don't know how long it has passed, but the battle seems to be finally coming to an end. In the center of the battlefield, the ice blade in Aokiji's hand had been blown away and disappeared, and even the Amazono sword of the yellow monkey was pierced by the He-Faith's gun. There were sword marks and gun holes on the body respectively, and the breath became more and more sluggish. Chapter 143 Thunder Gun. Admiral flees. Thanks to 17,786 for the reward. On the isolated island, the fierce battle has come to an end. I saw that the ground was full of scars, almost no intact ground, all kinds of potholes, ice cubes, small puddles, and burning flames, with faint blue smoke rising. At this time, the navy uniforms on the yellow monkey and the green pheasant have been damaged, and only a little remains on their bodies, but they have already been stained red by blood. After the fierce battle, the red has completely turned black, looking very embarrassed. The two kept panting heavily, looking sluggish, and no longer had the strength to continue fighting. On the other side, Li Yiming's condition is slightly better, but he is still panting slightly, and he also has large and small scars on his body. Although the desperate fighting method is gorgeous and efficient, the consequences are the same serious. Feeling the faint pain on the body surface is a feeling that I haven't experienced in a long time. However, this is the end at most. Although the two admirals teamed up are extremely powerful, Li Yiming is not weak at all in terms of swordsmanship, physical skills, devil fruit development, or the mastery of two-color domineering. Also a little bit more. So the outcome of this battle was already doomed before it started. Brother, you are as strong as a monster. Huan Yuan panted continuously, his eyes were extremely solemn, he had no intention of joking at all, and his face was full of fear and panic. It is no exaggeration to say that Li Yiming is the only man who has almost defeated him. He cooperated with Aokiji very tacitly, and he also left some serious scars on the opponent's body during the period, but it couldn't affect the opponent's fighting spirit at all. The latter was like a tireless beast, whether it was pain or not, whether it is a crisis or a crisis, neither can shake the opponent's will. Even Kaido, the 100 Beasts who is also one of the 4 emperors, can't do this. Obviously, there is an obvious problem in their navy's deduction of this man. The other party does not have the potential to become the 5th Sea Emperor, but has become comparable to or even surpasses the strength of the Sea Emperor. At such a young age, it's really terrible. This sea is about to fall into chaos again. If he and Aokiji fail to escape today, it will definitely be a very heavy blow to the navy. By then, this sea may really become a pirate paradise. When the time comes it will be bad. Not only Huan Yuan thought of this point, but also Aokiji beside him. The two looked at each other indiscriminately, and they both saw the meaning in each other's eyes. They couldn't continue to entangle, they had to find a chance to escape successfully. At the very least, the intelligence gained today must be passed back. Li Yiming's every move of the two has been completely caught in Li Yiming's eyes, and he couldn't help but chuckled. Don't be so nervous, I won't kill you, I am very satisfied with this battle, and I also got what I want. What I want, and the two of you are quite to my liking, so relax. In addition, the conditions I mentioned before are still valid, even you Aokiji, why don't you just quit the navy and hang out with us, nothing else, but the treatment can still be guaranteed. When he said this, Li Yiming was quite confident. After all, before arriving at the Chambord Islands, they went to Sky Island on purpose and removed all the gold on it. That is, when returning to the sea, he happened to meet the Golden Lion and killed it by the way. So not to mention 2 admirals, even half of the navy, Li Yiming's current financial resources can afford it, and it can even be said to be more than enough. It's really exciting. If I met you before joining the navy, maybe I would have agreed. But unfortunately, I am a navy now. Although I am usually lazy, I am still very satisfied with my current life. Yes, I have no intention of changing jobs, so I want to disappoint you, little brother. I'm not quitting the navy either. The two rejected Li Yiming's good intentions one after another. After such a tangled conversation for a while, their physical strength has recovered a little bit. Although they don't support long-term battles, there is no problem in continuing to use their abilities, so they also resisted a little. Confidence. That would be such a pity. Hearing this, Li Yiming shook his head helplessly. Since you are not willing to join, then I will not force you. Although I will not kill you, but for the sake of certain things in the future, your navy will not come to get in the way. I will trouble you 2 uncles to rest for a while. Think of it as a paid vacation. As he spoke, Li Yiming began to wave the spear in his hand, injecting magic power into it. Red magic power fluctuations began to appear on the surface of the black spear, and the coercion that emerged became even more terrifying. Porisalino. You don't need to call me to know, go. There was a rush of shouts, and the yellow ape flashed to the green pheasant, grabbed the latter's shoulder, and then turned into photons and flew away from the isolated island, flying several kilometers in the blink of an eye. If it wasn't for the fact that he was carrying a person, he could still be faster. In the blink of an eye, there was only one spot of light left in the distance. Li Yiming, who had already expected the actions of the two, was not surprised at all. Instead, he grinned with a playful look on his face. "Since you're here, don't leave in such a hurry, accept the gift I gave you first." As he spoke, his legs exerted force violently, and a huge pit was directly stepped on the ground by him. With the help of this force, the whole person jumped high, and the right hand holding the gun drew back the bow. The arm hidden under the light armor was already bulging with blue veins, and the terrifying red magic power gathered on the gun head. The next moment, the power of the thunderous fruit was also wrapped around the gun body, and the white and red were intertwined, turning the originally clear sky all have been reflected in deep red. Lightning lance. When all the energy was fully concentrated, Li Yiming exerted all his strength and threw the Her Faith spear in his hand instantly. A terrible sonic boom sounded instantly, and under the blessing of thunder, the spear that was released from his hand was chasing quickly at a speed that surpassed that of the yellow ape. From a distance, a white and red line flashed past, blinking. Kung Fu flew a long distance. Li Yiming fell from the sky, no longer paying attention to the situation in the distance. This is his farewell gift to the yellow monkey and the green pheasant. Since it is the first time to use it, it is not particularly proficient, so it can be regarded as a simple try. If it doesn't work, he won't care too much. "Master Shang Shen, I won, I shouldn't have disgraced you this time." Li Yiming, who returned to the side of Goddess Faith, smiled lightly, completely different from the madness in the previous battle. At this time, he has a sense of déjà vu of a sunny boy. If you ignore his broken armor and blood-stained body. This battle really opened my eyes. At least in terms of fighting skills, I can't compare with you at all. Yiming, you are really a child who always surprises people. Back then, it was a wise decision to stay. Goddess He Faith, with gentle eyes, praised generously. Hearing this, the smile on Li Yiming's face became even brighter. "It is really a joyful thing to be appreciated by Lord Shang Shen. I will continue to work hard, so now, please ask Lord Shang Shen to help me update." Let's take a look at the ability value. I have a hunch that there may be unexpected gains this time. Of course there is no problem, but you'd better clean it up first. After all, you are in an indescribably embarrassing state like this. Bowing his head along the fingers of the red-haired goddess, Li Yiming immediately noticed his physical condition. The well-built armor has been cut with a lot of cracks, and there are very obvious scars on the body, as well as some unknown black marks. This battle is indeed fierce. 02. Really, the light armor that was deliberately prepared before leaving, turned out to be destroyed like this before meeting that guy. It's really surprising, but it doesn't matter. Without armor, there is no armor. It doesn't make much difference anyway. He stretched out his hand and directly broke off the broken light armor, completely exposing the body inside. Even the clothes have been damaged, and the sturdy bronze body is undoubtedly revealed at this moment. Sweat and blood are intertwined, but this beauty has not been destroyed. Li Yiming's body seems to have been tempered. Even the best bodybuilding champion is not as well proportioned as his body, which is both strong and beautiful. But it's hard to do. No, whether it is Kuana or Goddess Faith, the eyes are subconsciously condensed here. The expression on the face of the god and the man is slightly weird, but it is not too out of control, but the cheeks are slightly rosy. But Li Yiming, who was the person involved, didn't notice the situation. After throwing the broken light armor on the ground, he turned around and walked towards the sea. During this period, naturally, he did not forget to drink the magic potion to recover from his injuries. There is no need to be stingy at this time. A bottle of panacea can be poured directly, and the large and small injuries all over the body will be repaired in an instant, without leaving any obvious scars. Sure enough, it's more comfortable without the injury. The person who invented the panacea is really a genius. Li Yiming couldn't help sighing. After washing the body, since the ship is still at the port of the Chambord Islands, there is no way to change clothes for the time being. Li Yiming can only bear his upper body. The Herfaith spear thrown by him before has also been recalled, and the body of the gun is still intact. As for whether it has left some deep memories for the yellow monkey and the green pheasant, then he is not sure. Anyway, at least in the following time, they will not be seen again. Needless to say, the human physique of Pirate World is really terrible. But if it were any other person, he would have been easily killed by Li Yiming in the previous battle. How could he stand up like Huang Yuan and King Zi? One was stabbed several times and the other was stabbed twice. Is really scary enough. Sure enough, the top powerhouses in this world can be called monsters. Back to the Chambord Islands, there is still chaos here. However, the Navy soldiers who were stunned by Li Yiming before had woken up one after another at this time, and seemed to have received an order to suppress the entire island. Rot. The murderer who killed the Tianlong people could not be caught, and the failure of the two admirals naturally required some people to pay the bill. The helpless navy can only catch some ordinary pirates, so as to alleviate the anger of the world government, even if this method can play a negligible role. Not paying attention to the reaction of the Chambord Islands, Li Yiming and others have returned to the ship at this time. Next, go to the New World. Originally, it was possible to fly directly across the Red Earth continent to reach the New World, but after hearing that there was a Fishman Island deep in the sea, the goddess He-Faith and Kuina suddenly became excited. Interest. The former wanted to accept a few talented mermaids to be his followers, while the latter wanted to see them. They hit it off immediately, and there was no chance for Li Yiming to refute. But in fact, she will not choose to stop it. After all, men probably want to see mermaids, so with the help of Goddess Faith. Next, the ship was engraved with new sacred characters, and without coding, it dived directly into the water and headed for the depths of the seabed. Kuina, who had never seen the seabed, stood on the deck, looked around curiously, and let out exclamations from time to time. Only at this time can it be seen that she is an innocent girl. Affected by this kind of liveliness, Li Yiming and Goddess Faith also showed faint smiles at this time. It's just entered the sea, and some rare sea creatures are still behind, so take advantage of this time. Let's update the ability value. Which one of you will come first? The words of Goddess He-Faith recalled Li Yiming and Kuina at the same time. Both of them have crossed their own thresholds, they have been improved more or less, and their ability values must have undergone great changes. Anyway, they need to update their ability values, so the two of them can do it together. Alright. Then Kuina will come first. Hearing this, Kuina did not refuse, but nodded obediently. Okay, Gina, lie down on the chair. Okay, Lord God. After Gina responded respectfully, she went straight to the chair on the deck, took a deep breath, and waited for the end of the power value renewal ceremony with a little anxiety, while her heart was full of looking forward to. Seeing this, Goddess He-Faith cut her finger and squeezed out a drop of divine blood. The azure sacred text began to jump instantly, and the ability value belonging to Kuina was refreshed rapidly at this moment. That speed can be described as quite fast. After a while, all the values stabilized completely. Gina. LV.1. Strength, F321 Durability, F367 Dexterity, E428 Dexterity, E437 Magic, 0. Development Ability. Swordsman I. Magic. Skill. Swordsmanship Genius. When equipped with a sword, there will be a temporary additional development ability Swordsman. Slightly improved perception of sword skills. Oh! The increase in ability value is really fast. In just a few days, the overall increase has been more than 1,000 points. This speed is really too fast. Sure enough, the child from another world. I really don't know what to say about my qualifications. It surprised even a god like me. Looking at the ability value belonging to Kuina, Goddess Faith Hitos showed a slightly surprised expression. However, she was not too surprised. After all, compared with Li Yiming, the change of Kuyuna is not too unacceptable. This is probably the difference in reference. And without upgrading, there is actually a development ability. To be honest, the understanding of God's grace in the past has been completely subverted by these children from other worlds. Now even if there is any situation Goddess He Faith will probably not be surprised. Perhaps, this is the infinite possibility unique to human beings. Get up, little Gina. Thank you Lord God, I feel really good now. Kuina, who climbed up from the chair, put on her clothes, stood on the deck and moved her body a little, without any sense of strength emerging, but she could feel that her body was stronger than before. It's a lot easier. This also made her feel more and more that it was an extremely correct decision to worship Li Yiming as her teacher and join the Faith's family. If this continues, sooner or later, she will definitely become a world-renowned great swordsman, and then launch a final challenge to that supreme position. I believe that day is not too far away. Okay, now that Kuina's ability has been updated, it's your turn next. Yiming, take off your clothes and lie down. Ah, Lord God. As Li Yiming took off his coat, he revealed a touch of anticipation. It would be best if the accumulation of great achievements is completed and the upgrade standard is reached, then he will have more confidence to deal with the next battle, at least he will not die with Im. If Goddess Hetos can be kept from doing it, then it is better not to do it. Chapter 144, Achievement. Upgrade LV.3. Thanks for the monthly pass of AK-125. Li Yiming. LV.2. Strength, X. Durability, X. Dexterity, X. Agility, X. Magic, D501 rightward arrow SSS1206. In addition to the changes in the basic ability value, there are several more skills. Of course, these are not the most eye-catching. What Goddess Faith is most concerned about is the great achievements that have been accumulated, which indicates that Li Yiming can upgrade. With such a weird basic ability value, even the magic power far exceeds the basic situation. The red-haired goddess who has never seen the scene is looking forward to what will happen after the upgrade. Yiming, we has indeed accumulated enough, you can upgrade, so what are you going to do next? Do you want to upgrade now? Hearing these inspiring words from the mouth of Goddess Faith, Li Yiming's face immediately beamed with joy. He has been stuck for a long time, because his strength far exceeds the adventurer level, making it very difficult for him to accumulate great achievements. Now it finally meets the requirement. So what's there to hesitate about? Of course I'm going to upgrade, I can't wait. I guess so, but before upgrading, how do you choose the abnormal ability, namely swordsman, spearman, lucky and mysterious? The answer didn't surprise Goddess Faith at all. While constantly operating on Li Yiming's back, she spoke out several options and wanted the latter to choose by herself. However, she did not expect that two rare development talents would appear in this upgrade. Luck and mystery. Generally speaking, adventurers will only have developmental abilities when they level up, and in the past, the more certain behaviors you have done, the greater the possibility of similar developmental abilities. For example, if you take medicine regularly, then there will be reconciliation. If you use magic frequently, there may be magic guide. If you use the healing magic 463 frequently, it is very likely that, healing. To put it simply, the ability to develop is based on your behavior, and then the power that may appear, the effect is different, but it has a very strong increase effect on a certain aspect of power. But even so, there are still many effects of developing abilities that have not been understood by people. Among them, luck and mystery are among them. Even if it is very easy to understand literally, no one knows what the specific effect is, and it is because of this sense of unknown that the gods are even more curious. Under normal circumstances, if these two kinds of development abilities appear, the main god of the family will recommend a choice, but the situation is different now. Goddess Faith is very clear that Li Yiming is a very assertive child. No matter what the situation is, she has her own considerations, so she doesn't want to interfere with the other party's choice. She believes that her children can make the best decisions. In fact, Li Yiming did the same. There are 4 development abilities to choose from for leveling up, which is not beyond his expectations. Fortunately, it is probably because of talent, but no one knows the reason for the mysterious appearance. As for the other 2 development abilities, he didn't think about it at all. Whether it is a swordsman or a spearman, they are a little too weak compared to the other 2, and Li Yiming doesn't need that optional boost, so he directly excludes the 2 wrong options. For the remaining 2, there seems to be no need to hesitate. Luck and mystery are equally matched. No matter which one you choose, you will not lose money. It may be difficult for others to choose, but for me, you can have them all. It just so happens that the talent chosen for the initial simulation is luck. Maybe this reward can be randomly selected after the simulation is over. Even if it doesn't come out randomly, it doesn't matter, so in any case, choosing mysterious is definitely the best choice, otherwise choose lucky. In the end luck is random, that's not good. Brainstorming constantly in his mind, Li Yiming quickly made a decision. Master Shang Shen, I have decided, I choose mystery. Huh? So you gave up luck and chose mystery? You know, luck is still a little traceable, but mystery is not even clear to the gods. Have you really made a decision? Actually, personally, I prefer lucky. Rather than persuasion, Goddess He Faith simply expressed her opinion. However, Li Yiming was not affected at all. He shook his head faintly, and explained softly, there's nothing to be entangled with. In comparison, I prefer some unknown options, and maybe I will be able to develop my own lucky development ability later on, so it is definitely better to choose mystery. Well, since you have made your own decision, then I won't continue to persuade you, I'm going to start. Well, I will leave everything to you, Lord God. Don't say that, this is also the work of us gods, isn't it? While chatting like this, Goddess Faith Hitos did not stop at all in her movements, her right hand was moving crazily, and stopped completely in a short time. Okay, you have successfully leveled up, keep working hard and continue to accumulate ability points. I am looking forward to the day when you break through the limits of adventurers and reach LV.10. Patting Li Yiming on the back, the goddess Hetos rubbed all the information onto the paper. Li Yiming. LV.3. Strength, I0 durability, I0 dexterity, I0 dexterity, in magic, IO. Development ability. Forging A, abnormal resistance G, mystery I. Magic. Mole of love B. Use the magic mole to charm the opposite S*X. Women who come face to face with him will have strong loving feelings towards him. Perfect mimicry. Transformation magic. Completely change appearance, including height, body shape, age, gender, smell, etc., and ethnic characteristics can also be imitated. Singing language, Gunara, god of darkness, Woohoo, dark transformation too. Thunder magic. Derived from some kind of magical fruit. Able to manipulate lightning at will, change form to launch attacks. The power of magic increases with proficiency and level. Skill. Almighty. Sometimes can get unexpected improvement. Transparent world. Conceal your grudge. The ability to predict actions and dodge attacks will be greatly improved. Able to see the opponent's anatomy and weaknesses. Breath of the Sun. Enhance physical ability. Slash can carry the terrifying solar fire. Increased damage to evil enemies. When fighting with evil enemies, the full ability is greatly increased. Zebra. Increase heart rate and oxygen supply capacity, greatly enhance combat ability. Able to help recognized people to open stripes. Brave C. Annihilate mental interference such as coercion, confusion, and confusion. Basic attributes are doubled during the battle. Kenshin transparency. When equipped with a sword, it will temporarily add the development ability swordsman. The level of understanding of sword skills has been greatly improved. Can communicate with the blade in the hand. Effect increases according to level. Spearman genius. When equipped with a long spear, it will temporarily add the development ability lanceman. The level of comprehension of gun skills is moderately improved. Effect increases according to level. 6. Shaving, iron block, paper painting, moon steps, hazy feet, finger guns. Physical arts beyond the limit of human physical ability. Dragon claw fist. Special martial arts. Enhance finger and grip strength. Sword. When equipped with a sword, increase the sharpness of the attack. Can cause damage to spirits. Knowledge color domineering. Sharpen the five senses. Perceive the breath and emotional changes of the surrounding creatures. Armed color domineering. Harden, make the body harder than steel, improve its defense and attack power. Entanglement, turning into gas and entangling outside the body, increasing defense and attack power, even flying objects can be entangled. Outward release, direct release, evolved into substantial attack or defense power. Internal destruction, put it outside and pass through the surface of the object, directly destroy the inside of the object. Overlord. King qualification. Release your own spirit to intimidate, deter, and stun the enemy, and even achieve the effect of coercion. Coiled on weapons or attacks to increase attack power and can be used for long-distance attacks. Battle continuation. Improve durability. You can still act and fight normally when you are dying. Such a long information column made Li Yiming himself a little confused. No adventurer has ever possessed so many skills or magic. Even if ordinary adventurers have one or two of them, they basically have the possibility of becoming a strong person. But when all abilities are gathered in one place, the result is absolutely unimaginable. Probably can only be described as a hero who surpasses all adventurers. After upgrading, it really doesn't have much sense of reality. It doesn't seem to be getting stronger, but it seems to be getting stronger. This weird feeling really makes people feel a little bit at a loss. He squeezed his arm helplessly. Li Yiming's face was full of excitement. Although he said so on the lips, he was really satisfied in his heart. On the surface, he was indeed only LV.3, but his real strength would definitely surprise everyone. Upgrading is just the sublimation of the container, but there will be no feeling of power coming up, so you don't have to complain every time you upgrade. Isn't your current strength not enough? The goddess He Faith knocked on Li Yiming's head helplessly, either as an exhortation or a warning. However, because the height gap is too large, it is very difficult for goddess Hetos to make this kind of movement, and it looks very strange when viewed from other directions. But Li Yiming didn't feel uncomfortable, but enjoyed interacting with her red-haired goddess very much. After all, he is not the kind of human being who respects gods to a state of fanaticism. Okay, stop messing around. We seem to have reached the depths of the sea. Where do we need to go next? Where is the Fishman Island you mentioned? Sensing that Li Yiming's gaze was getting hotter and hotter, and thinking of something, Goddess Faith's cheeks were slightly rosy. She quickly withdrew her right hand, and chose to change the subject. Li Yiming naturally heard the strangeness in the tone of his red-haired goddess. He smiled lightly, but he didn't continue to pester him. Otherwise, if he really made Goddess Faith really ashamed and indignant, he would accidentally beat him up in a word. With his current strength, he is no match at all. It's better to accept things like molesting the gods as soon as you see it. Don't worry, Lord Shangshen, when I was in the Chambord Islands, I made a special trip to find a store that sells recording pointers, and bought a new recording pointer, so even if the previous one is not fully charged, it doesn't matter at all. Can still enough to reach Fishman Island. I can rest assured that while Li Yiming and his group were sailing happily under the sea was already in chaos. The Tianlong people were killed in the Chambord Islands, and the Admiral Huang Yuan went to catch the murderer, but was defeated by the real culprit. If the other Admiral Aoki hadn't arrived in time, he might have died. Was killed. But even if the two admirals gather, they are still not the real murderer. According to reliable information, the green pheasant teamed up with the yellow monkey, but was still defeated by the other party, and finally fled in embarrassment while being seriously injured. When the news spread to the whole sea through newsbirds, the sea that had not calmed down because of Chi Wuhei's death and the golden lion Shiji fell into endless chaos again. In the midst of shaking, countless pirates cheered and fell into the crazy celebration. Many of them were bullied by the Navy at the beginning, and now they finally see the Navy deflated, and the joy is almost indescribable. Naval Headquarters, Malindo. Boom. A dull knocking sound came from the marshal's office, and the desk in front of the Buddha's warring states was shattered, his fists were still clenched, and his face was so gloomy that he was about to drop. Bleeding. In front of him, Garp and Crane looked equally dignified. Damn Morgans, actually posted this kind of thing. Now is not the time to worry about these things, warring states, Lieutenant General, he said calmly. Li Yiming's strength has far exceeded our expectations. A strong man who is equal to Whitebeard, and because of killing Tianlong Ren, we can no longer invite him to become Kai Wuhei. Not long ago, when the yellow ape and the green pheasant came back, the tragic scene is still vivid in my mind. King Zi was almost seriously injured and dying, and Huang Yuan was in a slightly better condition, but he was also seriously injured. When he heard about Li Yiming from the latter, everyone was shocked. Verb, move. Another troublesome character comparable to One Piece Luoji appeared, and the most important thing is that the other party is young enough. Being young means that there is still room for growth and unlimited possibilities, which is very unfavorable for the Navy. In some respects, he is even more dangerous than he was before. Above the Luoji of the classics. Originally suppressing the four seas, vigilance against the four emperors and other pirates was already stretched, and now there is another powerful existence, which makes all the high-level navy deeply worried about the future. Actually, I don't think there is anything to worry about. Although the boy is powerful, he didn't do evil like a pirate. This point can be seen from the injury of the naval branch of the Chambord Islands. Death, as well as Kuzan and the others, can be seen if they come back alive, can't they? 5.3 So, as long as you don't look like other pirates, we don't need to worry so much. Garp, are you confused? He killed the celestial dragon. You know that I received a call from the 5 old stars not long ago, and they scolded me severely. For Garp's indifferent attitude, warring states suddenly became very annoyed. So what if I killed the Tianlong people, those trash? If I wasn't wearing this skin, I would have killed them too. Garp. Hearing such unorthodox words from his old buddy, the warring states of Buddha, who was extremely bored by these things, suddenly became even more angry. This guy, don't you think it's not chaotic enough now? Okay, you two stop arguing, now is not the time to quarrel. First think about how to deal with Wu Laoxing, and those who take advantage of this matter's limelight. As for the reckless pirates, as for the others, let's discuss it after Kuzan and Polisalino have recovered a bit. As the lubricant among the trio, Lieutenant General Crane has fulfilled her duties excellently. Sure enough, after hearing her words, the originally annoyed Buddha warring states calmed down instantly, took a deep breath, and forced himself not to be angry with Garp. After all, with a fool, there's nothing to be angry about. Does that require Jun to come back? No, you can let her continue to contact her. Didn't Polisalino say that before? Li Yiming has no intention of killing them, just to prevent the Navy from affecting him. So in the next period of time, he will definitely make big moves. In order to avoid being caught off guard at that time, we must pay attention to his every move, and even figure out his behavior. The purpose is to take precautions in advance. Would it be too dangerous to let Jun pass by? Garp also showed a worried expression at this time. After all, Jun was watched by her growing up. No, I want to go to the slightly weaker Jun, so as not to arouse the other party's interest. Chapter 145. The purpose of having power is to make the silly X listen to me. Monthly ticket plus subscription required. In addition to the Navy, other forces also received this news. Some were extremely shocked, some were very excited, while some didn't care, and a very small part was very disdainful, as if they didn't care about this latest newcomer. Of course, there are still many people who regard Li Yiming as their target. And Li Yiming and his group, who have already arrived at the Fishman Island, don't even know about all this. In fact, even if he found out, he wouldn't care too much about it. Enemies who could become his targets would come to him on his own initiative, and those enemies who would not receive any attention, it didn't matter even if they stared at him. Just a group of miscellaneous fish. Conspiracy is indeed useful sometimes, but it is useless in the face of absolute strength. Rather than having that time to consider the reactions of others, it is better to focus on the present. Relying on the sacred characters carved by goddess Hetos, the group arrived at the Murloc Island very smoothly. Even though they encountered many large sea kings on the way, they were completely unable to find them. Wow, is this Fishman Island? It's too amazing. After officially entering the Fishman Island, the dark and oppressive surroundings completely disappeared, and the bright light shone again. It was obvious that the body was in the depths of the seabed, but it was no different from the ground. To be precise, the scenery here is more beautiful than the Chambord Islands. It's really beautiful. If Poseidon comes here, he will be overjoyed. I wish I could turn all the residents of Murloc Island into my family. Along the way, Goddess Faith also met a lot of residents of Murloc Island. Whether they were Murlocs, merfolk or ordinary humans, they were everywhere. These were completely different species from Orario, although most of them the Murloc looked very strange, but he was not dismissed. In fact, Li Yiming saw these species for the first time. I have to say that the appearance of the Murloc is indeed rather abstract, and I don't know why. Not only that, but even the appearance of the male mermaid is also abstract. According to his aesthetics, the only thing that can be seen a little too much is probably the only female mermaids left. This is probably why female mermaids are so popular with slave traders. Master Shang Shen, don't you want to recruit a few mermaids to join the family? Do you have a goal now? If not, maybe we can go to the king of the Fishman Island, directly clarify the purpose, and then find out from the inside. Just pick the right ones. Li Yiming immediately gave his suggestion. Sounds really good, so let's do it. Goddess He Faith immediately accepted Li Yiming's suggestion, which is undoubtedly the most efficient way. So, under the leadership of Li Yiming, a group of people walked towards the most central location of Fishman Island, which is the direction of the palace, with a clear purpose. Stop, who are you? Just when they came to the gate of the palace, they were stopped by two male mermaid guards holding sharp knives, looking at the three people who came to the palace with vigilance. Especially human beings, which made the people and guards in front of them more vigilant. After all, the death of Princess Otohim is still vivid in my mind. During this period of time, the entire Fishman Island almost rejected the arrival of humans. If it wasn't for the lack of strength and the fear of attracting revenge from strong humans, I'm afraid it would have been a long time ago. Block all the pirates from Murloc Island. This is 10,000 meters under the sea, but it is the territory of Fishman Island. But for some reason, King Neptune did not allow them to take the initiative to harm humans, so no matter how much they hated humans, all the residents of Murloc Island could only swallow their anger. However, this does not prevent the Murlocs from being unkind to humans. We want to see Neptune, and I hope the two of you can pass it on. Faced with this unfriendly attitude, Li Yiming frowned slightly, but he still maintained basic courtesy, explaining his intentions simply and directly. However, he obviously underestimated the attitude of the Murlocs in front of him. Presumptuous, mere human beings, dare to call Neptune King's name directly, get out of here, this is the royal palace, you humans are not allowed to enter at will, get out of here before we get angry. Sure enough, I can't try to coexist peacefully with you, just like the evil dragons I met in the East Daxia Sea. It seems that only after you are completely subdued can you talk to me honestly. Li Yiming's expression turned cold instantly, and then he stepped out slowly. The domineering look spewed out, and the two mermaid guards who were close at hand were instantly severely injured, stunned instantly, and lay directly on the ground and began to lie dead. Not only that, the mermaid soldiers in the entire palace were all enveloped in it. There was a sound of falling of large pieces, and pieces of corpses lay on the ground. In the entire palace, almost no one was able to stay awake. Really, talk to you well, and if you don't want to appreciate it, then use force directly. Looking at the mermaid who had completely passed out, Li Yiming breathed a sigh of relief. It felt so comfortable not to hear the barking of the dog, so it would be better to be quiet. However, Goddess Faith, standing behind him, covered her head helplessly. Yiming, where is someone as powerful as you? I still want to invite a group of mermaids to join the family. If you mess up, I will only ask you. That's not what I said, Lord Shangshan, the words of these two guys just now are almost to the point of offending you. I stunned them in advance, but saved their lives, okay. After all, I don't want to kill people casually, and the method of inviting something is not fixed. If I remember correctly, the way God Loki invited Reveria to join was not particularly glorious, and I just imitated her behavior, there is no problem at all. When he said this, Li Yiming didn't have the consciousness to be ashamed at all. Oh? It is indeed something that Loki did, but he has already done it, so there is no need to continue to struggle, let's go in and have a look. Yes. Stepping over the two mermaids lying on the ground, Li Yiming and others drove straight in. Along the way, there are mermaid guards lying on the ground everywhere in the palace. Even if they are separated by a long distance, according to the strength of Li Yiming's domineering look, if he wants to, he can even cause irreparable damage to some weak guys. Soon, they arrived in the palace. What's funny is that the few large mermaids in the palace also fainted at this time, and a large middle-aged male mermaid headed by them was sitting slumped on a chair at this time. On his head, he also wears a gorgeous crown. That guy is the king of Murloc Island, right? It should be him. For the sake of convenience, I stunned everyone. Now it's a little troublesome. Let me try and see if I can wake him up. Li Yiming scratched his head helplessly, then flashed to Neptune's side, with a bright lightning flashing in his hand. External stimuli should be able to wake him up. With this in mind, Li Yiming put the thunderbolt on Neptune. The thunder and lightning that had been restrained was released instantly, spreading all over Neptune's body, stimulating his body under the control of Li Yiming, and the pain instantly woke up the Mermaid King who had fallen into a coma. What? Immediately afterwards, there was a tragic cry. Oh! You've really woken up. It seems that Dharma King Thunder's theory really makes sense. Hearing the ear-piercing cry, Li Yiming let go of his hand in satisfaction, and all the lightning wrapped around Neptune's body disappeared. The latter's body was already dyed black by the huge voltage. Even the body began to twitch slightly involuntarily. That way, it looks really miserable. If you want to pretend again, I will let you taste the feeling of being shocked again. I believe you will like this feeling very much. Please do not. Neptune, who was lying dead, got up instantly, and saw Li Yiming's playful smile, and suddenly became very guilty, couldn't help coughing twice, and then showed a vigilant look. Several, who are you? Why are you invading my palace? I'm here to make a deal with you. My master Shangshen wants to recruit a few mermaids with outstanding talents to be his followers, so we came to you. Li Yiming bluntly stated his own intentions. However, after hearing his words, Neptune's face changed instantly, and he said solemnly and without hesitation, "It is absolutely impossible. Even if I die, I will not betray my fellow mermaids. You humans, hurry up. Die with this heart. Hey, if we have bad intentions, do we still need to discuss it with you?" Regarding Neptune's firm attitude, Li Yiming suddenly complained angrily, "We are not human traffickers, and we have no interest in abducting mermaids to the ground for sale. I have already made it very clear that my lord Shangshen wants to recruit a group of dependents, not slaves, so you don't have to worry about those merfolk who are willing to join being sold." Master Shangshen? Are you a celestial dragon? Neptune's attitude changed suddenly, and he asked cautiously. So you guys, why do you always treat us like the gang of Tianlonggren? We are not Tianlonggren, but we have slaughtered a Tianlonggren. You are the God Slayer, the great pirate Li Yiming. Hearing Li Yiming's words, Neptune suddenly thought of something, and exclaimed with horror on his face. Originally, he felt that the human in front of him was very familiar, but now he recognized it. Isn't this the one who killed the Tianlonggren and also defeated the two generals of the navy? This kind of monster actually came to Mermaid Island. What a disaster. All of a sudden, Neptune became extremely nervous, even a lot of sweat appeared on his forehead, but he didn't even dare to wipe it off. Oh! Did the news spread so fast? This time it was Li Yiming's turn to be surprised. Obviously, the incident happened not long ago, and even a place like Murloc Island, which has no news, already knew about it, which made him more curious. He, Lord God Slayer, in fact, there is news about you that the ordinary residents of Fishman Island have not known about. I also learned about it in advance because of the phone bug that Jinbi called. The purpose of gathering here today is to it's also for discussing this matter, but I didn't expect you to come back so soon. Seemingly afraid of Li Yiming's misunderstanding, Neptune quickly explained. So it's Jinpi. That's not surprising, but let's not mention the god's lair or something. The Tianlong people are not gods, and I don't have the ability to kill gods yet. Let's come here, let's get down to business. What do you think about my proposal? Killing the gods? No, Mr. Li Yiming, we mermaids are peace-loving by nature and prefer to stay in the sea, so I'm afraid I will disappoint you. Neptune, with a tense face, spoke a little bit more, but finally cautiously and tactfully refused. When he said this, his gaze still staying on Li Yiming's body, afraid that his inappropriate words and deeds would make this murderous person angry and do something that would endanger the Fishman Island. A monster that can defeat an admiral, even if the Fishman Islands add up, they are no match for him. Therefore, if this matter cannot be handled properly, it may become a disaster for Murloc Island. Besides, we mermaids don't have very strong combat capabilities. If you want to invite them to be crew members, it's not a particularly good choice, so. Oh. That's a pity. Originally, I was thinking that if you, Neptune, let us recruit 2 mermaids, I would tell you the inside story about Princess Otohim's death. By the way, I will help you solve Princess Shirahashi's troubles. Since you don't want to, then there is nothing you can do. Li Yiming scratched his head in distress, and then showed a reasonable look. Since you are unwilling, Neptune, then I won't force you, and I will take my leave first if I bother you. As he said that, he turned around immediately, making a posture that he was about to leave. But before the front foot stepped out, an extremely urgent voice sounded directly from behind. "Mr. Li Yiming, please stop, what did you mean by that sentence just now? The inside story of Odo Him 500's death, and the troublesome matter of solving the little girl." "Oh? Did I just say that?" Li Yiming, who was blocked, grinned slightly, and then quickly returned to normal. He turned his head to show a puzzled expression, and after pretending to think for a while, he showed a look of sudden realization. "Affection. King Neptune, what you said is just nonsense, it can't be taken seriously at all, you don't have to pay too much attention to it, if there is nothing wrong, then I will leave first. I apologize for the trouble caused today, we will leave Fishman Island right now. Master Shang Shen, let's go." After saying that, Li Yiming planned to lift his foot and leave again. However, this time, Neptune's speed was faster than expected, and he came to Li Yiming almost instantly, his eyes trembling slightly, but his attitude was more respectful than before. "How many times?" The king of Mermaid Island suddenly fell to his knees and said in a hoarse voice, "Mr. Li Yiming, please tell me everything you know, Neptune is very grateful, as long as I don't want to take away the fellow mermaids on the island, I can promise you anything else." "Tisk, get up." Li Yiming, who was already tired of playing, gave up as soon as he saw it, and let Neptune get up first. Whether it should be said or not, he still has a little admiration for the huge man in front of him. Even at this time, he still insisted on his bottom line. Although the strength of the Fishman Island was weak, the faction headed by Neptune was quite united. It's a pity that without enough strength, unity alone will not have the slightest effect. This point is very similar to Cobra in Alabasta. In this huge world, if you don't have enough strength but have attractive treasures, you will attract countless people. The Jackal's covetousness, even if Murloc Island was later brought under Whitebeard's command, could not change the status quo. Only when he is strong can he truly deter other Xiao Xiao. Let me explain to you that we are actually not interested in other mermaids. The main purpose of coming this time is for your daughter Bai Xing. Listen to what I have to say first, and then you can consider whether to let Bai Xing leave with us. Without giving Neptune a chance to refute, Li Yiming directly interrupted, and then began to briefly tell the story. He told Neptune the truth about Princess Odo Him's death, including the fact that the real murderer was Hody Jones. Neptune couldn't believe it at first, but when he thought of Hody Jones' disgust for humans and what he did after Odo Him's death, he gradually accepted the statement. Before Hody Jones left the palace army, he stole the poison that you personally ordered to seal up, and now he is probably preparing to form a new anti-human group in Murloc Street. Power, if you don't believe it, you can send someone to arrest him, and the truth will be revealed by then. No, I believe what you said. After all, the evil medicine has indeed decreased. When he said this, Neptune's expression was full of complexity. Chapter 146. You don't want Bai Xing's identity to be known by others, do you? Thanks for the monthly pass of Let the World Suffer. Since you know what's in your mind, then save me a lot of talking, then let's talk about the troubles of Princess Bai Xing. If I guessed correctly, she should be being pursued by a fanatical pervert right now. People are in danger everywhere, so they can only be locked up, am I right? After one thing is finished, it will naturally transition to the second thing. Since Goddess Hidos wants to recruit some mermaids into her family, she naturally has to recruit people with extraordinary talents. There is no doubt that among all the mermaids, there is only one and only one who meets this condition, and that is contemporary mermaids. Aquaman, the mermaid princess Shirahoshi. At the age of 6, he was able to subconsciously summon giant sea kings for help. This talent can be described as terrifying. Especially in the world of pirates, being able to control all kinds of huge monsters is definitely something that no one wants to face. Therefore, since he knew the existence of Bai Xing, if he could be brought under his command, Naturally he couldn't let it go. "Your Excellency Li Yiming, how did you know the situation of the little girl?" Hearing this, Neptune's expression suddenly changed, and his expression was also full of vigilance. This matter has worried him for a long time, and there is no good way to solve it now. As for the matter about by seeing, except for a few people who know about it, it has not been revealed. Why does this man in front of him know about it so well? Even the cause of Otohim's death was known so well before, which is incredible. It's inconvenient to answer this question, so just be my prophet. Li Yiming shook his head with a chuckle, and didn't say the specific reason. Even his red-haired goddess doesn't know the secret. You, an outsider, want to know, what are you kidding? Actually, how do I know? It's not particularly important. What needs to be more concerned now is the matter of the mermaid princess Shirahoshi. The guy who keeps sending threats and intimidating letters is called Vanderdaken IX, the captain of the flying pirates. It is also a target fruit ability user, able to lock on the creatures it has touched, can throw various weapons, and can fly to the target's location no matter how far away it is. The reason why Vanderdaken IX did such a thing was to propose to Shirahoshi, in an attempt to completely control Shirahoshi as a husband. Am I right? King Neptune. Looking at Neptune, who was starting to sweat profusely, Li Yiming smiled, even his eyes narrowed together. The words that followed immediately made the eyes of the huge mermaid king widen, and an expression of disbelief appeared on his face. King Neptune, you don't want the news of Shirahoshi is the king of the sea to be known by the world government, right? The current Murloc Island doesn't have the strength to protect her at all, am I right? You, how did you know about this? This question is also a secret, but even if I don't know it, it will be known sooner or later. After all, it is left in the historical text of Sky Island, but it records the location of Sea King, even if it is because of O'Hara's destruction. Few people at sea can decipher its content, but there will always be people left. So, King Neptune, you don't have the strength to protect Shirahoshi. In fact, not only I know, but even Vanderdaken IX who has been attacking Princess Shirahoshi also knows. After all, if there is no purpose, I don't think anyone will pervert it enough to woo a child of a few years old. If this matter cannot be resolved, the identity of Princess Baxing will be exposed sooner or later. When the time comes to face the invasion of the world government, do you think you have the strength to protect your daughter and the people? The problem that hit the heart directly made Neptune silent for a while. He knew very well that Li Yiming was not joking. According to the PG nature of the world government, if he knew that his goddess was the ancient weapon Sea King, he would definitely hold it in his hands immediately, and he would even drag By Seeing into the experiment if he was sad research indoors. With the current strength of the Fishman Island, it is impossible to resist the invasion from the world government. Even with the existence of Seaman Jinping, he is still weak and powerless. If you really accidentally leak it, then Murloc Island will really be over. Mr. Li Yiming, what do you want to do when you tell me about this? After a moment of silence, Neptune's voice became extremely low, and most of his face was hidden under the orange beard, making it difficult to see his expression at this moment. However, everyone could feel the unrest in his heart. Or it can be said to be suffering. Because Li Yiming's next words will determine the fate of the mermaid princess By Seeing, and even the entire Murloc Island, so there is no way to keep calm as the person involved. Actually, my purpose was made very clear at the very beginning. My master Shangshen wants to recruit some mermaids to be his followers, and Princess Baxing, who is the king of the sea and has extraordinary talents, is naturally the best candidate. Simple, come on, we've got our eye on her. Since Murloc Island cannot protect Shirahoshi, it is undoubtedly a good thing to seek the protection of other powerful forces, and it can also be cultivated to fully develop the power of Sea King. I want to have no reason to refuse. After all, my lord Shangshen is a real god. The real god. He kept hearing the word God from Li Yiming's mouth, which made Neptune a little puzzled. After realizing that Li Yiming was winking at him, Goddess Hetos immediately gave him an annoyed look, but responded very cooperatively. After all, she was also very curious as to what was so special about the mermaid princess that the child so yearned for. Buzz! Terrifying divine power emerged in an instant, and Neptune, who was in a state of doubt, suddenly changed his expression, as if a tall and sacred figure appeared in his sight. He is clearly standing in front of his eyes, but it seems to be far away in the sky. Sacred, inviolable, this is God. Master God, please forgive me for my previous offense, and please forgive me. Neptune, who came back to his senses, fell to his knees directly, just like all the people who saw Goddess Faith before. Even the reaction was exactly the same. Get up. Leaving a word, Goddess Faith put away her divine power. She ignored Neptune's movements. Instead she turned her eyes to Li Yiming and sighed helplessly. Yiming, I am a god after all, can you stop making me do this kind of thing all the time? Needing to use this level of identity to recruit family members is really too low. Sorry, Lord Shangshen, it's because I didn't think carefully, and I will never do it again in the future. Li Yiming was slightly taken aback when he heard this, and then his heart trembled violently. He suddenly realized how inappropriate his behavior was. Standing in front of him was a real god who often listened to his commands and unleashed divine power wantonly. There was no doubt that this behavior absolutely blasphemy against her. But his red-haired goddess indulged his nonsense, and didn't feel the slightest bit of dissatisfaction. This is no longer something that petting can fully explain. Thinking of this, Li Yiming's eyes became extremely gentle, and at the same time mixed with a touch of apology. He always wanted to solve the problem as quickly as possible, but he forgot to care about the feelings of his own Lord God. Qualified kids. I'm sorry, Lord Shangshen, I promise that this kind of thing will not happen again in the future. You don't need to have such a big reaction, but remember, I still care about these things. If it makes me sad, you will be in trouble then. When she said this, Goddess Faith still had a faint smile on her face, and her slender hands full of calluses gently tapped Li Yiming's head, and said in an incomparably playful way. Seeing that she didn't seem to be joking, Li Yiming was also slightly relieved. Understood, Lord Shangshen, I will try my best to correct it. While saying this, Li Yiming also made a decision in his heart that he would slightly change the way he gets along with his family god in the future. Never take everything for granted. Okay, I'll talk about these things later, let's settle the matter in front of me first. Faith nodded Li Yiming's head again, and immediately brought the latter back to his senses. He slowly shifted his gaze back to Neptune's body, and his tone was not as frivolous as before, but became much calmer. King Neptune, this is the situation. You probably already know it. Now the choice is in your hands. If you are willing to let Bai Xing join the family, I will not only protect her safety, even if it is a murloc. The island can also be protected by me. Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't want to. Although it's a pity, we won't force you. It doesn't matter if you pick some other high-quality mermaids to join the family. Whether you agree or not, in exchange, I can help you solve the trouble of Vanderdaken 9. At least you don't have to let Bai Xing continue to live in the room. This is a mutually beneficial deal, how about it? Taking the initiative to state his conditions, Li Yiming waited for Neptune's reply. The stakes have been described to such an extent that it can be described as coaxing and deceiving. If the other party is still stubborn and unwilling to agree, then there is no other way. It doesn't matter if it's a big deal to give up Shirahoshi. After all, Goddess Hetos doesn't need combat adventurers. Even if she wants to accept a group of mermaids as her followers, it's just a novelty. Others can be used as substitutes, to some extent. Saying it doesn't make any difference. On the contrary, if this opportunity is missed, it will be a loss for Shirahoshi and Murloc Island. Not everyone is qualified to join the family of the gods. If you choose to refuse now, you may not have the possibility to make another choice in the future. After thinking about this matter, Li Yiming no longer insisted too much, and just let everything go. However, he obviously thought too much. The moment he learned the true identity of goddess Hitos, Neptune made a decision in his heart, and Li Yiming's powerful strength was naturally indispensable. Mr. Li Yiming, my lord, I have already decided that it is her blessing that my little girl is favored by you, my lord. Her identity can be said to be quite sensitive. As a father, I have no power to protect her, so now the best choice is probably to let her join the command of Lord Shenming, so that she will not have to worry about her life. Therefore, I implore the gods to accept the little girl, please. Neptune made the wisest decision without hesitation. Opportunities are already in front of him, if he doesn't know how to seize them, it would be too stupid. It's a wise decision, King Neptune, you won't regret today's decision, and I assure you that Shirahoshi will be absolutely protected. Similarly, Fishman Island can also be protected. A faint smile suddenly appeared on Li Yiming's face, and he looked at He-Faith quietly. The red-haired goddess suddenly looked clear, and then nodded slightly.